People, OU does the unbelievable. We won. When's the last time we've been able to say that, people? We won a game. We won a game. Not only did we win a game, but we looked pretty damn good doing it too.
Alabama state champions.
Alabama state champions.
And who preseason would have predicted that nonsense?
Nobody.
People, look, y'all know me. Y'all know me. I gotta walk a mile with this real quick. There's a certain person on here that owes me an apology. There's some people in the comments on the last video that owe me an apology. And there's some people in the chat right now that owe me an apology. Why? I picked OU 23-17, and I don't see a person on this damn panel or in the chat that was closer to what happened than me. I had an OSU fan call me today and say, hey, Chris, you guys lose by 20 points. I say, no, if we lose, it's by 6 at the most. Because why? If you turn Milroe into a legit passer, if you tell him you're going to have to stand back there and make a lot of throws, it feeds into what we're trying to do. You have to keep him contained. Brent Venables, Zach Alley, and company showed you why this defense, in my opinion, is a top 20 defense, top 10 any other year if they have a competent offense. Fact of the matter is that as much as people are saying they're out on BV, and that's perfectly fine, it's one game, whatever you want to call it, I'll say this right here. If real football heads know, that dude over there showed you tonight he's a good coach. He can coach. There's some mistakes on offense that were made tonight. We saw more of the same. We saw some things. It's still alarming that we only threw for 68 yards with Jackson Arnold. Regardless, we win that game we probably win that game 34-3 if we hit the field goal and also connect on that trick play. But we'll get to that here in a second. But people, I will say, I did pick them 23-17. I picked this game. So if you ain't with me, don't be with me now, because I'm just letting you know I have faith.
Well, all right. So as much as all props to you for picking OU,
come on, bro.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
I'm just letting you know. Man. I'm just letting you know.
To show my age, we're not worthy. You were right. I went 24. I went 23-13. I'm still stunned. When I pull up the ESPN app and look at it on the phone, I'm still stunned. I still think that they've confused the scores. Right?
I got one for you here.
It's flipped. I'm still confused about that. But yeah, no. I mean, you go first. Give us your impression since you picked OU to win. I will go on mute and let you chat for a little bit.
Look. All I'm saying is this right here, people. All right. I felt like the defense, this would be a good game for us. I said, hey, if we can contain Ryan Williams and turn Milroe into a passer, contain him, they want to run off the tackles and all the rest of that. I was talking to my friend Ty Hayes during this game, and Ty Hayes said a lot of things, but one of the things he said to me that I was like, hey, I agree with you on, he said, hey, I don't understand why we're not just running the ball with our running back. You guys are keying in on him. We played off his tendencies so well. Shout out to that guy, Eli Bowen. Some of the plays that he made tonight, phenomenal. Like I said, people, there is some good in this season. And the fact of the matter is that you saw two things happen tonight. One, you saw your young guys get amazing reps tonight in real games, particularly X-Rob and Eli Bowen. Next thing, recruits are there and they see the standard is still there, people. The standard is still there. -1, and I'm sure that Chris Mason will have something to talk about with that. But regardless, though, I'll say this right here. Hell of a game plan on both sides of the ball. You ran the ball. The fact of the matter was, and one thing I'll say this, shout out to everybody in Jay's Discord. Shout out to Jay Unfair Sports. One thing I did not hear anybody say, and hopefully we won't hear anybody say that on the panel tonight, anything about them on the panel tonight. I had no issues with the offensive line. Even Spencer Brown, I had no issues with the offensive line. You played damn near a complete game, your best game of the season. It came tonight. You were able to run the ball effectively. You overcame some struggles early on offensively. Defensively, you played lights out. Shout out to Kip Lewis. Shout out to Danny Stutzman for manning the fort, making sure everybody's there. R. Mason Thomas. If R. Mason Thomas were to go pro, all I would say is this right here is that he earned himself some money tonight, because that was big boy football. Fact of the matter is, people, is that there's still a lot of life left on this team. There's some changes that do need to be made. We talked about that on nauseam, but I'll shut up now. We got Chris Mason. We got Jason Watkins on here. Guys, go ahead and react. You want to go first, Jason?
No, go right ahead, please.
Is it possible for? I mean, it's a season salvaging win. How else do you put it? I mean, we were a 13-point underdog. Is that about right? Vegas moved around a little bit, right? Early in the week. So, and you won by 17. I mean, honestly, I told these guys, I thought, before I came on the pod, I was just checking the phone and just check a couple of things. I was still convinced the score was reversed. Like somehow there was a mass computer problem. Even after seeing OU win, I still somehow thought, no, that didn't really happen, did it? Did I just have a fever dream? It's a huge win for the program. It's very happy for the seniors to go out on senior night this way with a win over Bama. Some OU fans are saying, why are we rushing the field? I'm giving the fans a mulligan, considering the turd sandwich they had to watch against South Carolina the last time an SEC team was in Norman. I'm going to give the fans a complete mulligan on this. This is a win over a top 7 team. This is a terrible, shitty year. And for the OU to put this performance in front of the home crowd, in front of most of their commitments, a lot of their commitments were in town, and there's a lot of really good 2026, 27 kids in town too. So, from a recruiting standpoint, this gets you bowl eligible,
which is important,
which is huge. You more bowl practice for EPL, Daniel Akinkunmi, all kinds of folks, right? That's just big. Bowl practice, Stutz and Bowman, if they want to bow out of the bowl game, that's fine, right? If they want to play, great. If they want to bow out, they've done their job, right? Get our young safeties and linebackers, accelerate that development curve. It's huge. It means we have a week of Thanksgiving where I could watch college football podcasts and I could watch college football TV again. It's just, it's crazy. So it's a massive win. I'm stunned that they actually pulled it off, that they played complementary football, played within themselves, and didn't make mistakes. They won the turnover battle, didn't make mistakes. You watched the Ole Miss Florida game early today. This is the similar kind of game, right? Ole Miss gave that game away, and Florida just hung in there and played tough. And this is the same thing OU did. It's just I don't have any grand strategy penetrating analysis right now because I'm still I'm just stunned, guys. This was exactly what we needed, and I'm just trying to figure out what Sooner fan sold his soul to make it happen. So I'll be checking all of my Sooner fan friends, making sure that their souls are still intact. Because this was like a Hail Mary prayer for Sooner fans, right? I mean, now you can go into Baton Rouge with something approaching momentum, which LSU sure as hell doesn't have.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, this is such a shocking win that you had Georgia and Bama fans screaming at each other. You know what I mean? It's got Georgia and Bama yelling at each other. And listen, I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't expect it, I didn't see it, but because what you needed to have was what kind of happened. The defense has to pretty much lead the way. You know, even tonight, we've seen Jackson Arnold basically is turned into a running back. You know, he's turned into a running back. And you gave up, 60-something yards passing and 70 yards rushing? 130 total yards to Alabama. This is a huge, huge victory. But let's make no mistake, this is a victory that you got because this is an elite defense. Plain and simple. For the people that are trying to say that that Oklahoma has not built an elite defense, go argue with a freaking wall at this point.
No joke.
Go argue with a freaking wall at this point.
Well, we played complementary offense to the defense. I mean, this is how we should have beat Tennessee, should have beat Missouri, and should have beat
turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, this is how we should have won those two games. This is how we should have won those two games. I mean, the South Carolina three touchdowns, 5 minutes thing. Let's just wipe that as we should have.
The only chance you had at all to even be competitive was to keep Jalen Milroe in the backfield and make him beat you with his arm.
I will say someone
it happened.
So, someone was saying that we needed Michael Hawkins to win this game, and that didn't seem to be needed. So, I won't mention anybody in this four square box that said that, but I know somebody.
Shit wasn't me.
Spicy.
But yeah, I mean, this is the game we should have seen several times this year. This blueprint is what we should have seen for several games this year, even probably against Texas, right? This is what we should have seen. We should drag teams into this kind of rock fight because, guys, we're missing 34% of our starters on offense and defense. Mm-hmm. From the starting lineups that you would want to start the year, we're missing 34% of our guys.
Mm-hmm.
People, we have Coop on here from Unfair Sports, the guy. I mean, the guy who knows just about every damn thing.
Long time no see, Coop.
Yeah, Coop is on here. Coop, we got to get you in. What's going on, man? Like, what are you? Go ahead, man. Just you got the floor.
So, don't get it twisted. I said that, and I told a story that when we went and played Alabama in the Sugar Bowl and Trevor Knight had his out-of-body experience, I said it would take something like that, and I felt better about that game than I did about this game. And that game almost didn't even watch. I had my moral fiber was being strengthened today. I went and collected food for the homeless, and then helped an old lady move. I was driving back home with my daughter, and I was just like, you know what? Maybe I just will go do something and, just leave football to football. Very glad I didn't. I did my good deeds. I got to sit there on my butt. I said this. I said, guys, as far as like OU's number 2 in the nation in rushing defensive efficiency, and all of the players, all of the teams that are around us up there with the rush defense, we've already played. So the two worst rushing defenses that we were going to play this year were Alabama and LSU. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't think this was. I said that I couldn't see it. The offense never showed me anything all year long that made me feel that they were going to be able to do something complimentary. And I got to say this, Joe John Finley, I bow down to you right now because I know as an air raid type of a fella, for him to put the ball in the running backs and Jackson Arnold's legs the entire game and not get antsy and try to get creative. Like, kudos to you because you kept on doing what was working. How many times this year have we been running the ball, and then all of a sudden go, all right, let's toss it 3 days, three passes in a row and, get sacked. And, so listen, on defense, this is one of the better defenses in the country. They're number 40, I think, in passing defensive efficiency. So, I mean, that's a pretty damn good defense, especially when your offense just hands the ball right back to the opposing team's, offense over and over and over and over. But I'm excited about this, guys. This is, I think I kind of just was reserved that we weren't going to have a bowl season, unless the weird, 5-win get in because of the GPA type of a thing. But that's like a pleading hand me out. And so I'll say this is hopefully it's not injuries but I'm starting to get frustrated with the running back rotations because X-Rob has only shown that all year long. And that was frustrating. That was very frustrating to me to see him come in and go like that and just, I mean, ran for over 100 yards. We had 2 different people run for over 100 yards against Alabama. Now, this defense isn't one of the greatest Alabama defenses, and so I'm not going to even pretend that's the case.
But it isn't bad.
It's still freaking Alabama. It's still Alabama, and it was still this offense.
It's and look, that's not even the point. The point is that you did it without even being able to go downfield, Coop. You did it without even being able to go downfield. They essentially turned Jackson Arnold into a running back as well. I was listening in the car to the radio broadcast of the Ohio State and Indiana game, and the commentator kept on talking about how he called what's his name up there, Ohio State, the quarterback,
Howard.
Will Howard. They called him the best tight end to ever play quarterback in college football. And he kept on saying that because of Will Howard's ability to move around and, run around and stuff like that. And that's what I felt like I was watching with Jackson Arnold tonight. Listen, it's got to be the offensive line. Like, I love Jackson. I love Xavier Robinson, but that offensive line, they nutted up and they did what they wanted to do for the most part. And it was a mixture of guys. EPL came in and he was bullying some folks. But here's the thing is you didn't see people getting drilled in the backfield.
Mm-mm.
And that's what we were not allowing.
Yep.
Coop, if I could just jump in again, people, amazing reps for young guys. EPL, Howland, Ozida. Reason why I say these are amazing reps, Alabama has everything to play for right now, right? We were playing for bowl eligibility. We were playing for just SEC respect, trying to get a signature win, a key win this season in the SEC. You play for a lot of that stuff, and you had amazing reps. These reps are invaluable for guys like that. There's a lot of stuff that you can sit on tape. You can sit down with Eli Bowen and say, hey, we could clean this up. But on the flip side of that, you're saying, I love the fact that these kids are playing because these young guys are in there, right? You could say Peyton Bowen. Peyton Bowen's still a young guy, and we know it takes time to learn that BV defense, especially with what they're trying to, the role. Either him or RSJ is going to have to fill that Billy role next year. So they're grooming these guys to become what you're seeing. One thing I want to point out, and I'll lead us up to the panel, but one thing I want to point out is the defensive line, right?
Yes.
I thought that the defensive line played extremely well tonight. And the thing was that whenever we did, our pass rush started to show, not only R. Mason Thomas, but I've said it time and time again. I wish Stripling would have been healthy because the same way that they're using Trace Ford was the way that they were trying to use Stripling these past 2 years, honestly. And the thing about Trace Ford is playing out his mind. Woolard was in there playing well. He was getting held an awful lot. Woolard, it's been the same really throughout the season. There's been a bunch of guys on that D line who played well. The interior can't say enough. Saw a play out there that was freaky with Dejon Terry on that, however he blew that play up. That was amazing. But the thing I want to point out,
really good. DJ looked really good. Hey, we got some super chats, man.
Oh yeah, no, one second. Thing I'll point out, and I'll lead us up, and I'll put this super chat up, is just simply this right here, is that I find it all damn near amazing how that defensive line played tonight, given the fact that DeBoer and staff want to do a lot of different things with their offensive line as far as their protections, as far as their movements, different things like that. So hats off to that defensive line.
Alabama State chips.
Yeah, we got 2 more in there too. So thank you, Mr. Dick.
I
threw a 20 in there.
I saw that. I saw that one. The who was it? Somebody said, "Is it too early to say Alabama State champs?" With about 6 minutes left, right before the R. Mason pop and the pick by Woody. Which good to see Woody Washington. He got beat on a couple passes, but it was good to see him get a pick last game at home. That guy saved our secondary for a couple years, and he was the best
no
guy
doubt
out there. And I started the season saying,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I started the season saying that maybe there was a the staff or this crew had surpassed a need for Woody Washington to be on the field, because I thought that we had better folks, but his experience shined through, and it helped out.
Yeah, I mean, dude, what's impressive to me, I'm watching some highlights in the background, is Bama's offensive line. I don't think their tackles are like their elite guys, but their interior guys are really good. Tyler Booker, their guard,
yeah,
he's an NFL guy, right? He's a first, second round NFL pick, and their interior guys. I know they got the smaller center from Washington, but their guards are really, really elite. They're good, and for our defensive line to hold up and to shove them around and play as well as they did, I mean, that's huge. I think, we have limitations on offense, and we understood them tonight and played within them. And, all props to Xavier Robinson that kid was like 255, 260 in the middle of his senior year and was still dominating Oklahoma high school football, but he was not in the shape to be Division I SEC ready. That kid has worked his ass off to get in shape, and I'm glad he's on the field. He runs really well. I kind of think that Barnes would have done the similar things tonight if he was really healthy, because that O-line was blocking. It's the O-line that's the difference. I think the running back rotate, everyone's like, we should have played X-Rub earlier. Well, yeah, maybe, but he would have gone anywhere behind the guys, the screwed up line formations and the scheme. He would have just been looked as ineffective as everybody else. But I'm happy for the kid. Everyone was doubting that recruiting acquisition. And I'm just so happy for the kid. But I mean, it's amazing that our defense, our makeshift offense ran for 260 yards on Alabama. That is absolutely crazy.
Well, and that's where you got one more super chat from T Boomer. X was on grown man shit tonight, he says, and he was. I mean, it's good thing we decided to discover him in week 12. I'm so glad that we discovered him in week 12 and not week 1. Go figure. I mean, I understand the freshman part of it and stuff, but for shit, man, at some point you have to call it what it is. I mean, this defense is legitimate to be able to go out there and do what you did. I mean, look, it got better on offense at Alabama after DeBoer got there. Don't make any mistake about that, because they had Tommy Reese running the damn offense last year. And this was a playoff team from a year ago. So it is what it is. And with Ryan Williams, yes, that should have been a touchdown. I don't know what that everybody else talking about covering him up and stuff. I want to know how many of you folks knew about that freaking, that rule existed before.
I knew that. I definitely knew the rule existed, but it's I'm like, how many times, we had Woody got a couple of really, really piss poor pass interference calls early in the season. We've got, listen, the football gods gave us some stuff back, and that's true today.
There were some more calls out there. Well, hold on one second. Jesse Brownlee says, "Boomer guys, we did it. So happy for BV, definitely." But man, it was kind of ticky tack, man. The refs were they were a little bit bad on both sides. But I mean, that was a really egregious call. Like that didn't make any sense. It never made any sense to me. I was like, he never went out of bounds, never did anything. I thought he had went out of bounds, like he got pushed out of bounds at the very least, but he never went out of bounds or anything. He was just tracking the ball the whole time. So
yeah. Well, and that's the crazy part about it, right? But in the end, it was 4th and long. I mean, it's a Hail Mary throw. How many times you going to hit it? Only with that kid, which, by the way, holy shit. Ryan Williams is that dude, man.
Yeah. No.
And you think I will personally up my contributions to NIL if he wants to look around and wants to become a Sooner, because he's that good at 17. I want to see him at 18 in crimson and cream instead of just white.
Sheesh. Guys, I want to talk about. I want to talk. Go ahead.
I want to say that I'm really worried. I'm really worried for the kid. I think he needs to sit out the next 2 seasons and then go to the NFL.
Probably so.
Yeah, he's going to get himself hurt.
Yeah,
guys, I wanna talk about a couple of things. First off, what do we do with Tatum the rest of the year? Because to me, my uncle and I, we go back and forth about him. My uncle's like, play X-Rob, leave him alone right now. I think X-Rob's the best back, this or that, blah, 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 all the above. And okay. I think we have our litmus test. I think we understand I think that's our back right now, RB1. But hey, guys, look, I still think that Tatum is really, really explosive. I think that he's really good. Just has a ball security problem.
Yeah, man, they got to fix that problem, and he will. He will fix that problem, you know. But the fact is, you shouldn't have had to rely on these freshman guys to be your standard bearers all season. You just shouldn't have. This is, I mean, look, the fact that you're down to freshmen now at this point, and this is your best rushing performance of the year, pretty much, unless you want to count the main game, which I don't.
We don't. We're not counting that.
So I mean, but that's what I'm saying. You're down to 2 freshmen. Don't be dissing on Tatum too much. I mean, the guy is that guy, and you got to get it fixed. But look, there's a lot of warts on everybody in that backfield, including the guy that runs the damn thing, DeMarco.
Yeah. And you see who he had in the hanging out with him at the game today? Tony Romo.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Tony Romo was down on the sideline with DeMarco.
Well, whatever works, man. You know.
Tony
I
Romo.
think it's again, you got to you love what X-Rob did. Tatum, this is just a blip. Just wait until next year, and he's going
to be carrying our football around campus all summer long, and you know, doing the old school, you know, fumble game. But Chris, you were about to say something, but I do want to say this. You know, just another shout out for the offensive line. We gave up 1 sack, and I'm not too sure it wasn't there's my words right there. I'm not so sure it wasn't like a quarterback run for loss that, you know, it didn't end up. So, listen, to give up 9 versus South Carolina, then 10 to Ole Miss, that's the thing that I was worried about for the second half. That's the only thought that was going through my head was, okay, hold on a second. Can we hold up? Because I saw, I think I texted Jay. I said, you know, I saw the Ole Miss game, so I'm not going to say anything yet. But yeah, I mean, it just kept on going. Well, I guess it also helps when you only drop back to pass. What was it? 11 times.
Yeah.
And guys,
yes.
Can we also bring up that if Bauer Sharp catches that pass from Brennan Thompson, we're looking at like 31-3.
Yes. You hit that chip shot field goal too. It's 34-3. I mean, like I tell people all the time, especially in a game of basketball,
we're greedy.
Yeah, especially in a game of basketball, it's not always about the points that you score; it's about the points that you left out there. You know, you hit 30, but you could have had 35 if you hit that 3-pointer, or you hit that layup, right? Or you hit those 5 free throws that you missed. Gotta think about that sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, even triple overtime here in the Auburn game. But I was going to go back to something somebody said, or they were asking about Jay. Is he still leaving? Yes, guys, he's out. I mean, I don't think that there's any 2 ways that he's coming, unless it just doesn't. I think all the writing on the wall, if it is the offensive coordinator you think it is, he's bringing somebody with him. This dude is gone, man. That's all there is to it. And again, shout out to him for running the ball the way he did and doing what he had to do. And shout out for them having the game plan that they had, albeit, you know, I still hated seeing a slow tight end getting that shovel pass there. You know, quick guy, you know, plays need quick guys. But in the end, I still think, and look, I'm not saying anything bad about Jackson Arnold. It's not even necessarily all his fault, but I don't see him coming back. There's no way. There's not room in there for everybody. It's the same reason you just saw Sperry flip. I think that there's definitely going to be an odd man out. And this is a guy that won the Elite 11 and was a 5-star, and there's plenty of market for that guy and guys that'll say, I can fix him.
You know, I don't. Sorry, go ahead, Coop.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think I think Jason's right. It'll just work itself out, right? let's just play the LSU game. The offensive coordinator will leak probably before Thanksgiving. We'll know who that is. We'll have a good idea if they're bringing a quarterback, and we'll just I'm going to let the OC talk to the quarterbacks, let him handle it. If he wants to keep Jackson, give pitch Jackson. If he wants to move on, a divorce is probably the best thing for Jackson and OU, right? He needs to find a new girlfriend. We need to find a new quarterback. New program / girlfriend to use the divorce analogy there. But I just think if you want to talk about Jackson Arnold, I just don't think it's the story tonight, right? Jackson did his job. He did it well. He stuck to the game plan. They schemed a game plan to win, and the defense put the game in the defense's hands and don't screw them. That's what we did tonight, and it worked.
Yes, and it's absolutely crazy because I was just watching it in one of our discords, and it's whose offense do we run tonight? That thing looked like Riley Leonard's Duke offense tonight.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that earlier up here in the comments.
Yeah, that's what that bad boy looked like. And so, guys, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, this is probably, obviously it's a massive stun. I don't think it's a stun as, there's games to where like we win and everybody else is like stunned but we're not. This is the opposite. Like, everybody else is like, well, Alabama has, struggled a little bit. Like, people are less stunned about this than probably this fan base is. And that's a pretty crazy feeling. But would you trade, losing to Alabama if we could get back like the Ole Miss win or the Missouri win? Or is everybody satisfied?
The home crowd, our recruits for 26 watching this, I'll take a home win over a road loss. Yeah.
And since you said recruits,
I'm not worried about that.
Guys, I put it in the chat. Let's not worry about Fasusi or Sean Hutton. Sean Hutton's already canceled the A&M visit now, and he was texting with Michael during the game. And so, guys, I just wouldn't worry about it. So if anybody's been out there freaking out about it, I've been texting with Sean. I told him you need to be FaceTiming Mike when you guys are going out on the field. Like he's pretty convinced that this is home now. So this goes a long way.
And I think if the most jaded anti-Bill fan, which we know there exists in our fan base, would have to say that when you see, Everett's back, Ozetta is back, and Howland's back, and
Fabici's back.
Fabici and EPL can have a dogfight for the right guard position, and then you pick up a tackle in the portal, you get Sexton and Taylor back. All of a sudden, you got Avery Dent has another year in the system, Akin Kimmy. All of a sudden, the O-line thing goes from the mess that was this year to the 21 and 22 class, 21 and 20 classes become irrelevant next year, right? Because those guys, that doesn't factor really into your calculations. So now we have Bill's bigger classes, his better talent recruited, and you were able to, and you get Hatchet back too.
Just one. Dropped the 2-point conversion.
Oh my god!
Dropped the 2-point. Auburn
won.
My gosh.
Oh.
43-41.
Right.
They're rushing the field over A&M win. Wow.
Everyone's rushing the field today. Clemson rushed the field after they beat Citadel.
My God, man.
But yeah, I think it's a big win. I take the home win over Bama over. As much as I hate Missouri and we should have won that game, I'll take this result. If this is the karmic rebalancing from whatever the hell happened at the end of the Missouri game, I'll take it. So,
Yeah, I'm not seeing it, but good for no hate. No hate.
I think it's on the table for depending on who the OC is going to be in. And I know Matt 405 out there, he is very, very convinced that Arbuckle is it. And I know that he has learned a couple of his lessons, and so he's talking Arbuckle, and I still think that's an opportunity. I hear that there's interviews supposed to be, tomorrow through Sunday. This week, you got to make this call probably this week, Monday at the latest, next week, because you got to get that stuff. I mean, you got to get the stuff done, because as soon as the early signing day gets, you want everybody in line. This win helps that effort quite a bit. Maybe this gives them a little bit more time to breathe and kind of go through the process. But you definitely want the OC in tow for whenever we hit this transfer portal, because when that thing opens up, we need to know who's here.
Right, because you can't evaluate the quarterback, left tackle that we need. What's going on at wide receiver? There's some stuff floating around about Malachi Coleman and Zachariah Branch from USC might be hitting the portal. He has a bunch of OU connections on the roster. December portal action is going to be a little nutty. We also get who's leaving from the OU roster. I also think if you were wavering on leaving, you're on the OU roster today, perhaps you're having a second thought about that, right? That look, this program can compete in the SEC. If we just play smart football. I mean, we could probably compete more with, one of our 5 top wide receivers, but we'll take what we could get, right? I mean,
hey, I don't want to go get too far ahead of ourselves here tonight, because obviously there's a good chance we go out and get asses whooped next week at LSU. Like that's on the table. But let's smoke some hopium here for a few minutes. You go out and you beat LSU next week, and then you go win a bowl game, and this season ends at 8-5. That is straight to the loony bin talk. I mean, 8 hours ago.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I didn't think at LSU, it looks. Can we play 2 smart football games in a row? I have no idea. But LSU looks vulnerable, right? And they look vulnerable to the things we do. They look vulnerable to the things we do well, because that team has an air of quit to it. And the killer is not the coach you want to play for. You don't go extra miles for the killer. You just don't.
I saw somebody up here earlier. He came in. He said, "Hey, I'm a Bama fan. Just wanted to let y'all know Milroe is trash." I don't believe Milroe is trash.
No,
but I will say that game plan tonight that they had, there's some times where you're looking at Milroe like for instance that the Kip 6, right? The second Kip 6. You're sitting there looking at it like, I text Ty and I was like, yeah, I don't get why are you throwing a flat, or excuse me, why are you just throwing, basically, yeah, it's a flat basically. Why are you throwing in the flats to your H-back, tight end, whatever? I was like, that made no sense. That guy was covered. Obviously, he didn't see the disguise. And then Kip made a hell of a play on it, got the ball, obviously took it for it made a pick 6. I think that you were stubborn at times with your run game, as far as just, the inside run game was working a bit for Miller, but you would use it for 2 plays and then go away from it,
Chris,
go ahead.
I will stop you right there, because I don't know if there's 2 words for you why they stopped doing that. Danny Stutzman.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Stutzman got a few really, really good licks on him early, and Milroe, he got up a couple of times, and it was not too easy after Danny stuck him. So I think that's probably a situation where they saw him staggering, getting up after a couple of those inside run plays, because Danny literally just waited and stayed patient. And the moment that the offensive tackle or guard, whoever was pulling at him, is running full speed, Danny just takes a small step and then attacks and hit Milroe. I mean, he drilled him. When you guys go back and watch the game, watch it. I think after a couple plays, he was like, I don't like this. And I think that coaching staff was like, let's not put him in that spot anymore.
Yeah, I think, if you're a Bama fan, I think the problem you have is that Milroe, this is going to sound a little silly, Milroe's not a fit for that, for the scheme DeBoer wants to run. He's not an efficient mid and short range passer. He's a great long range passer, which makes him like he's an NFL nightmare to evaluate, right? Because he's throwing all these deep passes and hitting them, but his medium and short game is just not. It's not there.
He's like the other day.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
It is.
All those guys are like that. They just can't hit the medium range ball. But you can hit the deep pass. You can beat it with your legs, and you can.
Yeah, I mean, it all fits, but I don't think he's a fit for DeBoer's system. I mean, I think DeBoer needs a different quarterback.
I'm with you. And Jason, I was saying this at the beginning of the year. I was saying that they return less than 400 yards rushing, and now Ryan Williams broke my second stat, so I won't even bring up the receiving stats. But I mean, it was like 800 yards receiving. Right. But I said he doesn't have 3 first-round draft picks at wide receiver out there. It's been a while since that year with with Devontae and all the big Bama receivers, Jameson Williams, all that stuff. Like, listen, the last time Bama had a really great receiver was Jameson Williams, and that was a transfer over from Ohio State. Now, Ryan Williams, who was 17, I don't know if you guys know that, but that guy he's got a chance to be one of the best ever. That even though that it was a touchdown, that's like 3rd, 4th year NFL pro type of shit. Like that was was great.
He's a cheat code. He's a cheat code. He just is.
He is. And the whole thing about Milroe doesn't scan to the 3rd or 4th receiver. How many of them do? First of all, number one, and the other thing is I would tell you the biggest problem is that they're not trying to make the game easier for him. They're wanting him to do what they did with Michael Penix, and he's not Michael Penix.
He's not.
If he's having to throw the ball 30, 40 times a game, and I've seen this before all throughout the year, then that's not good. I said that on multiple shows this week that, look, the only chance that Oklahoma has is to keep that dude in the backfield. Make him beat you with his arm. Listen, when you got a guy like Ryan Williams, you're going to get a few. You're going to catch a few deep balls. It's just all you got to do is just put it out there for him. But in the end, you could tell by the end of the first half, he didn't want to run no more. They'd hit him hard enough that he went down right after he got that first down. He went right down, right?
They got nothing behind him too, right?
You did exactly what you had to do if you're Oklahoma. And, yeah, I think that they need to do a better job of making the game easier for him. I don't think that they had a very good game plan, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that Brent Venables knew exactly what he was doing tonight.
It was. And, at one point I even caught myself, I was like, well, he's used to it. And I'm like, well, he's not used to this Alabama team. It's a completely different team. What it is they said it on the broadcast, Alabama had less than 2.5 seconds to throw the ball. And they were running all these deep routes and all these routes, and it just was not there. There was one play by Eli Bowen who, listen, I could spend the whole offseason talking about Eli Bowen.
Love that
but
kid.
There was one time that Milroe did not escape the pocket. He went to his 3rd read, which was Ryan Williams on the complete opposite side of the field. And that's the one that Bowen got there right at the last second and knocked it away. And just at that point, I think that's when I saw Williams was like, all right, like this is getting frustrating because Eli was in his hip, even that touchdown. I mean, it took an absolute freakish play for him to catch that.
It's like OBJ shit.
Oh, it was.
It
was.
Yeah. I mean, again, just the defense played great. I mean, RMT and I'm flashing on the name, the OSU transfer guy. Why am I blanking on his name?
Trace Ford.
Trace Ford played great. The interior tackles played really well. Woolard played great. It was a great. I mean, he held down Alabama to 220 yards of total offense. And 3 points. I mean, they haven't been held to 3 points for apparently someone says like 30. It was one of the comments in here. It was like 30 years.
It was. I don't think that they in a conference game. The last time they went without a touchdown is that 9-6 game. The year that they beat LSU in the national championship game. But I think they said it was like 2004 was the last time they went without a touchdown.
I mean, that's craziness, and that's craziness for this defense to do that. I mean, there were some big time defenders on campus tonight, guys. D line, all the 26 D line we wanted, and some linebackers and DNs. And
Yeah,
there's a couple of
there were
27 big time stars as well on the defensive wise. We just, if we got some momentum, get an offensive coordinator leaked to our recruits, so the recruits know who's staying, who's going, so we can sign the 20 guys on Wednesday in 2 weeks, 10 days from now. Then have our new staff hit the portal hard December 9th, do some bowl prep, because we're going to end up getting a shitty bowl opponent, right? Because
USC. Let's get USC.
You want that smoke?
That'd be
if they can, they will.
Oh, they will.
Yeah,
he's exactly right. They will.
They definitely will.
Lincoln will want no part of that.
But we'll get a shitty bowl opponent as opposed to like the Big 12 where we kept getting we kept getting better bowl opponents, right? Like it's like what do you mean we're getting dumped up higher? Like playing that FSU team, that 1 year was ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
We were like, what the hell are we doing playing FSU? We're
that should have probably been in the playoffs.
Exactly. It was exactly. They should have at least won the ACC title and all that. It was just bullshit. But we'll get a dumpster bowl opponent. We have 3 weeks for all of our young kids, the safeties, the corners, the linebackers, everybody to get a chance to get going. X-Rob, I'm happy for the kid because a lot of people are like, why are you taking Xavier Robinson? We almost let him go to Iowa State. You almost went to Iowa State.
The funny thing is that yet again, it's just crazy to think that we have that type of talent here in Oklahoma. That was another Josh Jacobs-esque type player that you almost let slip out of the state.
Well, Boulware would have let him go out of state.
Hell, Lincoln and the entire staff would let him go out of state.
He would have. He would have because they said he was overweight and he needed to lose weight, and his effectiveness in high school was just being able to punk people. And I promise you, he
lost 15 pounds immediately when he got here, but put it back in muscle.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you getting a good. You often forget that not every single high school program around the country has the type of strength and conditioning that the state of Texas has. And, even in Oklahoma, we're still a little far behind when it comes time to that stuff. And then places like California, they're not even in the same atmosphere. And, I'm just taking a look here and just, some potential bowl setups here, maybe like in Illinois or in Iowa. If you go to the Big 10, I was looking, if you go to the Big 12, maybe they want to match you up with a K-State.
Whoa, dude, nobody needs that.
I didn't say needed it.
Nobody needs that.
I saw somebody talking about Army earlier today.
Can't we get the 8th ACC team? Can't we get Wake Forest or somebody? I mean,
we got 5-3
forever, man.
5-3 in the ACC is Louisville, Georgia Tech, and then 4-3 Duke and Syracuse.
Can we play Syracuse?
I'll be down with
Syracuse would be fun.
We haven't played Syracuse.
Can we play a shitty Big 10 team? Come on. We're in the SEC.
Iowa.
Oh, wait.
Iowa.
The third SEC team, that Indiana team that everybody's so in love with and got the shit beat out of them today.
We're in the SEC. Aren't we guaranteed shitty Big 10 opponents in bowl games? I thought that was the whole point of going to the SEC.
What about getting a Baylor or a TCU?
Well, sure.
No, I would take a Michigan in a bowl game.
We're gonna play them anyway next fall.
Isn't it crazy to think that after seeing what Michigan's kind of doing, I'm not as scared about that game next year as I thought I might once be.
And they haven't even got a show cause yet for Sharon Moore yet.
No, and then don't they have Ohio State next week, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they'll. Yeah.
So they're gonna end up. What were they in the non-conference 2-1?
Maybe they do. Maybe they use our game plan, or that's been their game plan the entire year. Maybe they find some type of magic. Is that game at the Shoe or is that game at the Big House?
It's the Big House, right?
Yeah, Big House first.
Yeah,
Stephen G. I like it, and you guys, I saw somebody tweet this out. Kip Lewis has one less touchdown than our top wide receiver.
That's wild.
And that's Deion Burks, all three in game 1 against Temple. I remember turning to Jay and I said, I predicted him to have 10 touchdowns. I'm going to have to bump that a tad bit. Didn't score again the rest of the year.
Guys, look, I think Jason's going to have to get up out of here.
Yeah.
We've been on here for 50 minutes. This has been great. OU won. Guys, go ahead and give your parting shots before we jump up out of here. We'll start with you, Chris Mason. Then we'll go to Jason. Then we'll go to Coop for the last word.
Guys, don't just enjoy the goddamn win. Just enjoy tonight. Listen to every podcast you can. Pull up the Josh Pate YouTube video where he plays the Sarah McLachlan theme for Alabama. Just enjoy this freaking win because the fan base has, I mean, we have sucked up a lot of crap this year. So just enjoy this.
Oh, is it my turn? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, enjoy it. It's what he said. Enjoy it. This is great stuff. Look, I'll be the first to tell you I didn't expect it. I don't think most of us did. Even Kchris, Nostradamus over here got it. But and I got to give him props for. I'll give you props. Look, man, it's Sooner Magic. It's they did the right thing. This is why we've known that BV should be the guy because of this. It's you can blame the offense on him if you want, and I think there's plenty of blame to go around there. Whatever. In the end, there's a reason why he's here, and it's for this reason that they can put together a game that could beat Alabama. They could beat Alabama. And without an offense even. Let's be real. They were not beating Alabama with Lincoln. They wasn't going to happen. I mean, you just can't. This is not the way it has to be. You have to do what he's done on defense. You still got to get better on offense. There's no two ways around it because you're not going to win like this either long term. But that is something that you can expect for them to go get done. They believe in this guy. We should believe in him too. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it as always.
Dear Nick Saban.
Dear Nick Saban.
Before the season started, you made a claim that Oklahoma was not able to compete on the line with people in the SEC. Now, when you have 86% of your offense injured, that's a tough call for everybody. But on defensive line, we have showed every single game this year that we belong here. Now today, we showed that with a little bit of something, we belong here, even with a bunch of guys that shouldn't be playing outside of against Maine. So here's what I'm saying is, yes, Oklahoma, we got hit with the injury bug. Like that is 100%. But this shows tonight that when you don't take the game away from yourself, you can compete with anybody in this conference. And I said it was a crazy year, and it was going to be a crazy year with pretty much every single team going through stuff that they're going to have to go through. Ole Miss doing the mercenary game, Alabama, completely new coaching staff, new everything, and the Saban effect being gone. Guys, we're not going to be in the 12-team playoff, but I'm pretty happy to be able to watch this. This looks like a pretty watered down season in college football. I don't know if there's that team out there because even Oregon's doing great. I don't know if they're necessarily unbeatable. But I tell you one thing: this is where we want. This is this game basically redeemed this whole godforsaken season.
People, look, again, we've been on here for almost an hour. Go to Sooners 360. Check out the Patreon. Chris Mason is putting in a lot of work over there. Hall of Fame College Football Podcast with Jason and Coach. Rise and Grind, all the different shows that Jason is putting out. You know that content. Coop, Unfair Sports. Coop, where else can they find you, man? I know there's other places that they can find you as well.
Yeah, it should be Unfair Sports, Sooner or Later Podcast, the corner of Memorial and Sheridan, paying for money because, yeah. So anyway, but no, it's Unfair Sports or Sooner or Later.
And the Horns Down Podcast, obviously. Like, subscribe, do all those different things. My God, we won. I let out the biggest scream when I'm just